Thanks, Sierra. Does it all end here on Ascent? Envy just one map away. And Vans, it's a map where they are once again trying something new. Inspire off of the comfort roll, going to KJ along with this Waylay Yoru double duelist composition. I have thoughts. I'm sure you do too.
I think it's a good pick, to be honest with you, because Inspire is going to be very good on any single agent. And if you remember the lore as well of Inspire before he was Inspire, when it was still Baby J, there's probably a picture floating around of him cosplaying as a Killjoy. He loves that agent, and he knows how to cook with Killjoy. And I also think that this agent pick, especially on the defensive side, could be a nice little counter on these execs that are being thrown out by TSM because of the Sage Wall boosts. Sometimes you have the Sage Walls, and you can't really play around trips and traps because the overhead view of the B site kind of just gives an opening for or Seven or Alvin Boy being boosted on the wall to fight against you. So now you're just leveraging even nano swarms to stop the flood from the other players moving into the site, isolating the fights towards that main and making sure you're crunching on that spot. And look at it already. You're potentially looking for the reaction of the turret to have both duelists with the saturate and the nanos to just dominate TSM on a B side hit where they're currently leading in the very beginning. It started off with a little bit of util on that side. You saw the drone coming in from Vora, if not a shock dart, to try to create a resemblance of an attack side on the A site. But here comes a hit on B now.
You want to find that prey and collapse onto it. The nades to sequence the initial push. Smoke to stop the next part of it. Inspire unchecked on the logs. Gets away with 2. TSM, the rest of the pack fight has to be real. And they will hold it down. Seven already, without that healing orb, had to use it on himself to get him back up to an equal bit compared to the rest of TSM, so it's almost a full-fledged 3v2, but Poppin fearless in the rest of these channels, knowing TSM had to be so committal to getting on side, especially with this barrier orb on the back hall. He'll quickly deal with that as Ion breaks his way through. And Envy make their climb. Ion, good for the opener. Down the steps they trollops. Double crunch on the swing. It is gorgeous by Ion! 3 for the kid!
He finds his single timing. He's the one breaking the wall, let him know, yo, I'm over here. Come at me, bro. And he just goes out for these taps down the staircase and opens up the site. Poppy wasn't even needed. I don't even think he was waiting for a recon dart. I don't even know if I saw one into the site as Ion just kills everybody on that retake. We were overzealous a bit trying to go for the execute for TSM, running with her util out, just trying to wall out towards that spawn. So that tuck in towards that logs was huge for Inspire, but thankfully we had numbers for TSM to trade that out until this happens. You were in position for all these trades, but then unfortunately Ion is just quicker on the trigger and they get a pivotal piss around for Envy, one step closer to Ascension.
Already meaning everything to Envy here every round. So much more meaning to it, so much more weight.
Double
with
Aries.
What's on the other side. Yeah, let's get a little goofy with it. Poppin and Kane still trying to have fun with it. With this late hold by Inspire on top of that util, it's going to get cleared pretty sequentially. You have to try and set up these man-to-man blockades, especially when the rifles start piercing.
If Poppin' Canes was actually a food chain, I'd buy that over Raisin Canes. This is a stalemate once again for TSM. After hearing the roar of the Aries towards B main, they decide to stop themselves in the track, and really, it's hard for them to take map control. Nobody's on the right side of the map. The alarm bot's gonna get sounded here by Alvin Boy. Unless, now that he spots it, he's gonna need his teammates to make some noise towards that B main.
Great skirting for Inspire to at least get a little bit spooked, but can't do any damage beyond that. Everybody gets broken down on the entryway. You really just need that smoke and the slightly better guns, and around like that's trivial, so it makes it all the more important that Envy got that pistol to start.
And it's flawless. It's clean, at least for the side of Envy, and they'll carry these two areas over. They've identified for TSM. Yeah, exactly. For TSM over on one side on that B site, but they don't even know that there is also one over on A. That said, every single angle is being checked. Double areas with an outlaw going into this round will be very still dangerous to face up against here for TSM. Thankfully, they had a plant on that first round, so everybody can have full armor except with the exception of GMD. Looking for early control over on the A side. And they do hear that second Aries on that site for Kane Zero now.
trying to pressure that one-way presence both ways, but neither side really comes up with anybody buckling. So we'll just meet at a new front door. Ion holding on to this Bucky, just standing down the arch as well. Just trying to aura his way through this round.
Right now, it's so slow for TSM. They didn't even have a chance to move out to break turrets or really force any rotates across. So they might get caught off with Util a bit, especially with Ion's position in the front of the A site with the Judge. And finally, the drone spots him. It's a tit for tat, though. They've shown a little bit of their hand left and right. The turret doesn't really know who it saw towards that main. So probably they think that it could still be Alvin Boy trying to lead up on that side first. But it's 3 players getting ready to move in into B.
Yeah, the entry onto that is pretty doubtless. Poppin able to just kind of fire his way through as the smoke falls, but TSM do a great job of avoiding a lot of that raw damage, and now the barrier orb can actually escort them onto the site. Still, though, they are pinged out. That makes it a little harder to actually worry about the site itself. Still, frontline fights deal with the boathouse presence, and now Vora is able to play the back corner. Just set up these extra checkpoints, and you're solid. But Ion's managed to make his way in, and now he's got that rifle. Down goes Alvin. Does Envy steal away the bonus? Another clutch by Ion. No! GMD closes that out and keeps TSM the least bit stable.
That's crazy because it looked like such a good opener. So many kills happened off screen, but it's basically the tuck that you had from one of the players in front of the stage while propped up by 7. As you try to drone for pop-in, it actually was so focused to try to take down 7 at the top that 2 players were able to walk down. No information given for the players in the back of the site. They both get caught off guard, but somehow Ion was able to turn things around back to almost win another clutch. And let Envy run away with this one. But TSM, they get the round. It's rather expensive. They're all at small shields, but Exter still invests into the operator this round.
Once again, Kane trying to go that one way on A's opener. Seeing how greedy he can be with it. Smoke dropped onto Exter, finds the op shot, but whips it. Kane entering with the saturate. It's got to be here or now. And the saturate finds both, but Vora can restabilize. And TSM has managed to set up shop onto site. Poppin's here, though. Timo warps that spacing however he needs to. The updraft with the shorty. Sure, buddy. However you see fit. 2v3 on the retake as Exter is still holding close to this operator, and Inspire has actually kind of legged it over this barrier orb to make his way to tree a little bit early. Exter coming away with the frag onto Timo, and Vora has had to pocket himself on top of this door now that the spray onto the tree has been given, but it'll be the double peek from that tree door. So Vora having the close angle, the turret's not going to catch him, and Alvin Boy a long ways, ready to catch the first dry contact. This operator still dangerous, and Vora not checking! Turns back to heaven and opens the stage for Envy yet again. Extra the peak, Inspire the finish. And Envy come away with that defensive round.
I don't understand why we kept looking back there for Vora at the top of heaven. Yes, the cyber cage show is being thrown by Alvin Boy. It does get audio cues of somebody walking on the top, and especially since you had the op kill come out there from Exter. But the thing is, you still have to drop. You still have to make audio cues to try to see if they're dropping down on that site. And Alvin Boy is already watching that line. They were so afraid of a double drop somehow, even if the turret is towards tree. And as Vora turns around for a second time, Exter finds the timing, backstabs him, and then Envy converts a 2 versus 1.
A terrifying mistake to make when every one of these rounds counts so hard. Envy have continuously dominated on their defensive halves on Ascent. It's why they wanted to start here. But even so, any moment like this where TSM has just been fully stomped away, their flame fully snuffed, having to start from the beginning. And yet, blades are open. Drone is out. A is open. TSM's in. Timo's free. Ion counteracts. Timo's got a frag. First blade connects. Second one's flash. Kane in the meantime with this Judge. And the Saturate's timing is perfect. He's clip farming in Ascension Grand Finals. I'll give him one more. Oh, come on. Distasteful. Envy continues to feast.
Toying with them, I fully respect this because you're finding information. You're going for the recall. You already have the ult, so don't get the kill. Who cares about that? You're trying to ascend here for TSM, or sorry, for Envy, and you're trying to stop this now. So you recall, you allow Poppin to get that kill. and he's going to be one away from his Hunter's Fury. I respect the first entry from Timo was beautiful there onto Ion, but that movement right there from Kane is just so impactful. The gap close that you get on the waylay to play with the judge and a saturate on top of that. Now you're just playing hero plays on the side of Envy, and it's locking out TSM.
Yeah, at this point in the game, if Envy, the players individually are activated enough, it's kind of over for you. That's been the tale of the tape. And TSM, across this entire year, they've been the ones that have been able to meet that threat head on more consistently, been able to shut them down, been able to dissuade them. But there is nothing left to lose. No more games left to play. Nothing left to attain. Envy are going to leave it all out here. Wear their hearts on their sleeves. And TSM must be ready to meet every individual threat that coalesces so beautifully as a whole when it's Envy running down a map like this.
It seems as though for TSM, they've had some great successes, at least to get onto the sites. They have good jobs or good results on the entries too. But that King Zero on that previous round, maybe we didn't really get a plant down for TSM. There's just some small mistakes that came through from TSM's positioning that cost them some very important rounds. Think about that pistol round on that 3 versus 2. That Ion gets a 3K for that round. Think about that continuous turnaround from Vora on that 2v2 earlier. And now, thankfully, this round is just aiming down the sights and punishing the early aggression out from Egster. That allows TSM to take an early upper hand and potentially here after this timeout to regain this confidence to bring this game back on their side. Remember here, Tenrek at the desk. Roy has mentioned that a lot of their successes for TSM has been on their attack side. So being able to muster up a couple more rounds here on their attack could put them in a very comfortable position to bring this game back.
I know exactly where.
More than enough time to do it. And if you can go for these punishes that allow for far less threats in your face, then you have such an easier path to get there. No more flash support for Kane. It's got to just be the judge on its own. And the spacing from Timo is good to avoid the kill. Still so much damage done by him without consequence. Ion, presence in hell is found and not cared about. Ion! It's 3 for him again! The Wonderkin sets the stage! 7 forced to hop on site. Not much time to be able to work with. And now the convergent paths to finalize! Kane gives open season to Inspire as he grabs his own rifle. The lockdown fully bursting away. Alvin Boy has to come up short. For one, he is good. Has to track down Inspire with 15 seconds to go, and the spike completely left. So many universes in which this is so cooked. The sightline is met. Alvin Boy wins it! And TSM holds on for dear life here on Ascent.
And you can't forget Alvin Boy in these scenarios, even if you have the most confidence in Kane Zero on how you're retaking these sites, how much damage you're doing. You have to be sure that you're landing your shot when you have him pinned inside wine. For you to overextend into that shot, bring that overconfidence and underrating what Alvin Boy could bring, that's the result potentially that you could get. Look at him picking up the spike, getting the kill with 20 HP remaining. Yeah, even Inspire can believe it. He felt like he had it. He had time on his side. He could have forced the plant from Alvin Boy and just win it through time as well. But unfortunately, it's Alvin Boy that gets the reaction shot and keeps TSM in the game.
They just keep fighting, and TSM continues to fight back from down. And yet, Envy continues extending, continues climbing, creeping. Vora at least holds down that opening frag, but Egster begging to find the next one. A free rifle right in front of him. That's a trade up he'd love, but no proper opening. And Ion, held up in wine, would potentially give himself away, letting this smoke fly depending on how far up GMD is lurked. Still though, TSM looking for some extra neutrality in this 4v4.
They still have to up the tempo though for TSM. They've been really close down to the wire that previous round. If they do that again, it's checkmated by Poppin's ult. So already you're trying to push Inspire away from this B main line. Don't have a drone to work with. Nexter somehow gets value here on this catwalk. That's gonna force the rush into B, and yeah, Vora solo now.
It's so easy for them, dude. They they just waited and waited and waited and waited and waited, and they got walked into. I mean, Timo just handing himself over that round to Extra, just hanging in tree. Nothing in his pocket, nothing in his hand, nothing that he's waiting on, except for a player to walk in. And it's all to sell into just a dry contact onto Inspire, who has no reason not to be close up too. Envy is playing so unabashedly as themselves, and TSM have to meet it with more.
It looks too that they had a read to try to take control of towards that from B side by reconning just close range. They understand the forward positions out here from the defensive side of Inspire, but unfortunately, the timing is always better, as you can just see right now from Kane Zero.
Does take a decent chunk of health, but he doesn't care. He goes out for round 2 and comes up with Tim. The confidence, the moments that Envy can find it, especially against pistols like this, where you just feel nigh on invincible. Envy has the streak started, has the momentum they need on this defensive half. They just gotta keep picking it up. Just gotta keep punishing TSM when they try to meet the threat.
Nice shot too. You saw that duel happening through that cage, just trying to protect that rifle left behind. And Alvin Boy still is able to get it with the Sheriff. That opens up the B site potentially here for the TSM 3 versus 1 on B.
Alvin,
30 seconds left.
risky step out with that lone rifle, but he doesn't take any damage for it. TP into the boathouse, so you have the double stack. That's got to be red, though. Yeah, GMD ready for the swing, and they know one more is here. Extra still blinds off of himself and is good for the 1. But TSM able to recoup this into a 1v2. Inspire with the attempted save. GMD already given out with the boathouse angle. Drone allows Vor to reposition, and this drop smoke from GMD has probably fully boxed Inspire out. Still, though, you know he's going to go for it, right? Surely.
Not the best of money, but they do have the confidence in the rounds. He wants redemption for that 1v1 he lost previously against Alvin Boy.
I check everything else, but Inspire, he knows for a fact both of these guys are in the boathouse. No more util to hold it down, just that
Thrifty.
Smoke in, and Boris just got it watched. So a Thrifty by TSM keeps them more than stable in this game, in fact. 3 to 5 gap now, and they're looking electric.
I love the little tech though from Inspire. As he walks forward, he drops the turret on the ground so he can drop on his turret and onto the floor to do a silent drop and hopefully catch one off guard. But unfortunately, again, in this eco that you just had from TSM, look at those sheriff shots just ringing everywhere. Great position, great fights, and even the owl drone on a 2 versus 1 finally allows Vora to backspace into the back B site to pick up a rifle so they could double up and play against Inspira on that silent drop. So it all turned out pretty good into how they were just able to win these fights and get these openers for TSM to salvage that round. And this is a little bit of a grace that you want here for the side of TSM. You know, Stunner right now in the conversation is just talking to bring the morale back up here for the team, because so far the game plan has been really good for Envy. You just mentioned it, Tarek. Even if Inspire is playing forward on the turret or whatnot and they're still trying to rush him down, he's still getting on these kills. Kane is having so much impact as this Waylay. So you just have to make sure right now that you calm the spirits and you make sure that they lock back in and that they could just have some cleaner rounds, especially against these egos of TSM.
Yeah, no identity crisis to be found on the side of Envy. And if anything, that makes the fact that TSM is looking this decent against them all the better. They are playing each other at their best. And TSM will try to keep that streak going, along with starting their own here on Ascent attack, which, as you said, is a half that they have needed to rest on quite a bit in the past. 3 ultimates on the board here. Poppin able to meet with 100 Fury. He's been using them a lot earlier this match just to try to get early ticks, and he's come up with a hell of a lot of kills once he finds the stack. Does he do it again here?
Changes a bit as well on how TSM's approaching their attack side, going with an instant smoke in the front of the B site so that the players could really scale up and take control here of that B main. Interesting look, as usually that's a defensive side smoke that you kind of want to throw here on your end, but it really once again puts TSM into some sort of a stalemate. when these rounds are very, very quiet, TSM haven't really had scenarios where they're able to move up and break util and force these rotates. You are now grouping up to go into a pop, but the 3 players are pretty much ready here towards B. It's going to be off this turret from Inspire, who's going to pop off these nanostorms to stall. And Poppin needs to find a good position. I don't think he's in the best spots to be able to leverage the Hunter's Fury, so he'll have to use his gun.
Yeah, it'll have to be the gunplay. No wall boost either that Inspire was looking to meet on the approach. It's all through B main. But Inspire has to back the boathouse and finds 3! What a last flick! And he'll find the final one as well. A reactivation round for the ages for Inspire.
And that was beautiful. Didn't even notice that they had the convergence path available for Kane Zero on top of that. So despite the owl drone coming out and him being fully exposed, being popping, it still allowed Kane Zero to get good value, and get that with the convergence path. And for Inspire to be in range where he's not going to get affected by the convergence path, so he can just swing out for these fights. He didn't necessarily have to go for the first fight against the Sage being 7 here, but he still won that, and the rest was just easy for him.
He's so willing to take on whatever is in front of Envy as a whole. Kane being the first to make those words. More often than not, he will get punished this time. TSM are at least getting a little more consistent at being able to shut that down, and it doesn't mean that Kane Zera is playing worse. It just means that he's getting caught a little more often. He's still serving his purpose as the guy to get inside the pool. But TSM pack up and show out. They'll grab their 2nd kill of the round and make sure that they have a decent amount of space to kind of work with from here.
Doing an instant drone now into the B main side, trying to throw this hit onto B. But their walk contact into the A side with the turrets there. This could all be stalled by Inspire with the lockdown, while you still have the TP from Exter to already come up and meet up and save and support his teammate.
Bomb grenade out.
Once again, how much does Inspire do on his own? Just walks down the Jenny. Solo dolos it for the time being, and then the Heaven presence is known. The slow orb a little perfect, though, from 7. And the rest of the audience is more than open. Can't duck back. A second of indecision for Envy leads to TSM just blowing smoke.
Yeah, they were just looking to find the timings one more time for Envy before actually committing into the lockdown. It was a nice attempt because nanostorms weren't both popped at the same time. You're pushing them towards generator. Then you save that second nanostorm to just push those players at Jenny into a different spot so that you can flit towards the top. But that slow orb from 7 was perfect here, not allowing the double flit to happen from the top. So Inspire was kind of left on an island after the first kill, gets traded out, and the 3 players could fight back for TSM. Now, a change of pace, though. A full aggression for TSM on the A side hit. Both players, though, that could do some damage are inside that site for Ion and Kane.
They've already been able to fully clear this out, and the read onto where GMD is TP'd. All the meanwhile, Ion is holding court on site and does it all by himself, despite the fact that Envy's all here. It is another complete smackdown on site the other way. I mean, the double positioning for that takeover was perfectly managed. The Hunter's Fury for the corner that GMD went to, and then the almost instant turn to the Jenny corner that Timotino tried to breach.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the pathing when you're trying to do these hits, right? What's the most basic pathing you're gonna have with the jet? Cloud burst, dash into it, try to fight around the dice. Especially when you're throwing a sight smoke from Omen, you're trying to dance around the right side of the boxes. I'm pretty sure there was a saturate being thrown at that spot at the same time around the Hunter's Fury. So those players on the back of the site couldn't do anything. And if the saturate wasn't in the back of the site, it was probably towards the front to even isolate the other players pushing forward. Didn't really necessarily was able to see it at that side. We'll have to check the replay after that, but that was just a good stall coming in from both players on that side. Again, Ion and Kane. Making it doable now for Envy to close out this series with such a strong hold. But TSM, if they can muster up this last round right here, they would still have a pretty decent look going into the second half.
Yeah, playing for 7-5 is definitely not something that TSM is going to complain about. Not something they really can complain about. You're running out of options here. And Envy have so many ways to reapproach this round, especially with that lockdown that Inspire's KJ pick. May start begging a lot more questions of when we swap sides, it should be said. But the preventative util that was used in, yeah, that saturate from Kane is such a great extra step stool to get Envy there quicker. yeah, it's just such great stall tools the whole way through.
Yeah, he's just good at shooting with the rifle as well for Ion. He's been not really talked about throughout the series or even the whole tournament, but Ion has definitely been on the eyes of a lot of players. The one having to replace Knights, if I'm not mistaken, that went over to Sentinel's Academy team, Tubert's Academy. And he's been put up numbers too.
Whoa!
Oh my God.
Timo, take us out to dinner first, bro. That lockdown is no more. TSM takes over, Timo. That is a gorgeous blade storm. Holy.
I thought we had time to talk.
Never. Well, last round of the half. You certainly do go for it now. 2v5 on the reapproach. 7 has the res, and Poppin trying to play with this barrier orb. Yeah, let's just have a jungle gym round after something like that. Whoo, mama. All right, well, TSM still here to play. That's for bloody sure. Ion can at least shut that jet down, but it will be 7-5 that we play from, Vans. That is a guarantee.
Sure. A plat shot guarantee?
Don't talk to me, man. Don't talk.
It's still Ion that's alive, but no, I agree with you. There's still the Hunter's Fury that's available. We're running out. We finally have the information. Ion's playing for stats at this point, and definitely will have the 7-5 scoreline right here for TSM coming back into the half. It looks so dominant once again for Envy, and it looked like they were going to run away with this game. But TSM found something since these timeouts, and Timo Tino's entry right off the bat was beautiful. The most standard jet dash over with the Blade Storm catches so many players off guard, and TSM stays alive in this fight. Now let's throw it over back to the floor where Melau is standing by with MIBR's GC players, Bastarda and Mel.
É isso, estou aqui com a Mel e com a Bastarda do IBR. I'm with Mel and Bastarda from MIBR Game Changers. Amigas, estão se divertindo? Eu tô me divertindo muito com essa Envy aí, os caras são muito malucos, tá dando pra se inspirar alguma coisa?
Ah, se inspirar e não entregar round, né? Que a gente tá entregando muito, mas vamos corrigir aí pra essa final, pra esse Game Changers, vamos ganhar.
Ask her if they are inspired by those scenes, by Envy, by the aggressiveness, and she's telling about being inspired about throwing rounds, that they can throw rounds. E, Bastarda, semana que vem, faltam 6 dias pelas minhas contas pro LCQ. Como tá a preparação, como é que tá a confiança?
Ai, eu tô muito confiante, meu time é muito bom e eu não tenho dúvida que a gente vai ganhar.
So next week we're gonna host the LCQ for our Game Changers, and MIBR is looking for a spot and ask her how is the preparations, the expectations. She said she's really confident that gonna win. E espero mesmo que vocês ganhem. Por favor, semana que vem é nós aqui, certo? Vocês ali e levantando lá. Fechou? Fechou?
Fechado.
Fechado?
Fechado.
Então é isso, bora pro game aí pro segunda metade. Vamos ver se acaba agora.
Love seeing Bastarda and Mel scoping out the São Paulo arena, which is staying busy post-Ascension, the GC, LCQ between LATAM, Brazil, and North America's second best Game Changers teams gonna be here in just a couple days. So many champions left to crown, Vans, but this one goes miles. This one historic for either organization that has been in this space for so bloody long.
Yeah. And MIBR playing the LCQ next week. Good luck to Warada and Akave Esports, because they had a brawl against Team Liquid in the BO5. One of them went into like so many OTs. And you know that they have one of the strongest rosters in MIBR and Liquid going into GCC. So make sure you check that out, chat. But focusing back on this one here, who's going to ascend between Envy and TSM? Envy 1/2 away of making it through, and TSM on a pistol on defense now are looking to crunch back into middle, to fight back into middle, and to hopefully push us into Haven.
Every step Envy must take, seismic as their plays. Big mid creep to go for the B crunch. TSM letting them have it. The big stack was from the tree catwalk to go for the massive clear in the post plant. And as the wire is burned, There's a little bit of damage done by Alvin Boy with the backstab that won't be met, so TSM have a little bit of an advantage with the damage pool.
Yeah, and keeping Extra alive with 18 HP is still dangerous, as they have to play the Flood retake. They're going to play into the unknown, retaking towards the B site. The question marks on B main, question mark on Wine. They need this recon to come back up here for the retake for Vora, and they have it with the Slorbs to retake.
Cainzera's looking for a way to stick this fork in with his light speed. That's the one fulcrum point of util that this team has. Otherwise, it's just blindly firing. And the smokes that are set up early on here do give Envy a lot of room and time to work with. As Kane continues to blue ball TSM circling from the backside, and he'll kill the one who tries to approach it. They've got to make their way on, and they just don't have the time or players to do it. Voro, the only one standing against the crowd, and he barely makes any headway. Envy will continue thwarting on the pistol, and it's now 5 rounds away from an Ascension title.
And that's the issue that you have for TSM trying to flood back into site with no util. A recon and Slorbs, there's no flash to get value off a recon flash for TSM to get any idea of where their opponents are playing from. And again, because of the question marks we created unintentionally for the side of TSM with no B-side control at the beginning, well, you have to re-clear it. So GMD goes for the big flank. There are only 4 players trying to retake that site. You snuck through towards that spawn for Cainzera, and you kept 2 players at bay. If anything, time was of the essence that it could probably win with.
Making rounds a guarantee. That's what Envy would like to do here. And Kane, not even the biggest threat with this judge, though he's going to make it seem that way before he has to inevitably recall back. He'll still find Voro before having to press it. And this is the kind of domination Envy want to escape this with, the kind of image they want to plaster over Americas. Still so much room to go. TSM will relent here and clock in for the long haul, starting with their rifle round.
And you're seeing from the last 2 rounds, Envy staying as a group and just mowing down any lane that they're taking here on this map of Ascent. The thing is right now is, if you know how TSM would like to play, they could also strive under the aggression being met up with by Envy. So they could definitely go the same 3 type of players to fight back into the front lines, and they're looking to do that right now this round. 2 players moving forward with the rifles, 1 trying to get into the wine, that's Timotino, but the drone just spotted him.
Kane already recalled, already crunched. Paranoia won't catch him, but the flash will, and Envy is fully in. Now, they've met them in wine, though, and Timo comes away with 3, swinging out, still kicking it on the Cloudburst. He gets a reset, but Ion and Poppin can stop that. Turn it back into a 2v2 entering the site, and that is massive for Envy already. Holding on to these rifles and grabbing some of their own. They potentially flip this round here and now. Could completely shatter this match. Early entry from Alvin Boy, pops out from the smoke, sprays through the Jenny, does a hell of a lot of damage to Poppin, and Alvin Boy finishes it. Now the swing from on high. Ion turns into a 1v1 and finalizes! Nothing to lose, everything to gain!
Iron once again. Another clutch coming through, a 4K in the round. It is now shattering the dreams of TSM trying to ascend to partnership next year in the VCTs, despite the valiant effort of Timotino, despite the triple push to fight forward, and even to win that at the very beginning against Envy, it's still Ion showing up. Switch your name out from Ion 2X to the Ion 4K.
Potentially the one variable we were still questioning at this point of if he is fully here, fully activated. And he has saved this team a multitude of times. Now escorting the entryway onto the A site. Pop in the opener. Cainzera. The bobby pin against this eco that TSM will swarm back to A site with.
This is insane how we got into the site now for Envy. I mean, this is still a half buyout for TSM, trying to keep money afloat so they can afford the operator out of Timotino as soon as possible. But man, was that entry aggressive for Envy.
Oh,
we continue to jump through to get that kill.
Jumping into his own smoke. Ion is here to have fun at this point. And Envy continue to lay waste. Nothing doing on that entry. And TSM might have just one more proper chance with a full kit to be able to save themselves from yet again disappointment at Ascension.
And they are staying calm. Inspire is just reeling everybody in with his experience, with the leadership, with what he brought from previous FPSs that he played into Valorant right now. A veteran in the FPS scene. Making sure that he can lead the youngsters right now with Envy into this victory, eyeing this trophy and eyeing the stage in Los Angeles next year. This calls out the timeout for TSM, the last one that they have in this potential series, but definitely of the map, unless they can bring it back. And with the squint from these eyes, I'm not too sure if I'm confident in TSM's hope to fight this back.
What kind of words does NBS spin to get the morale and stratagems of TSM to code to both make up this gap, surpass it, and then last for the long haul in map 5? It looks so insurmountable now, but TSM and Envy have been so clean post timeouts. At the very least, a breath may be what gets them by, what gets them ahead, and they will take a deep one as they assess their surroundings and prepare for another Envy push.
The crazy thing too is when Roy was mentioning a lot of the rounds were in successes for TSM on the attack side, though. Defense, you're still playing double Senti. They could still be a composition that could stall well, especially with the Sage on these aggressive hits coming through from Envy, who continuously go for these 4-1 pops, these 5-0 pops. A TP towards the back spawn. They've sandwiched TSM this round.
Yeah, Ion can't be as easily punished this time. The Hunter's Fury from Pop inside as well, and it's a total flood onto the A site. How do you even expect to match something to that? Timo and 7 at least get their frags, and 7 still kicking with the help of this door frame. But he is so crunched and so dead. Envy already rise up to the occasion. Ion once again frontlining and once again dominating. Another 4K for the Wonderkind. And it's 7 rounds of match point for Envy.
The TP once again is the backstab. Not once again, but at least Ion once again is the backstab of TSM. But the hit in itself, look at that. The Hunter's Fury with the saturate. You can't even play dice. You can't even support your teammate from the back. It's because of that TP. What was drawn out from a timeout for TSM was taken advantage of by Stunner to call out this beautiful play for Envy to dismantle the defense, to dismantle the economy one more time. TSM has to play with Blade Storms now, and Envy goes for the plow into the B site.
Trying to stick that dagger early. Vora trying to play Universal with that Hunter's Fury, and he'll do some chip, but not the kill. Inspire gets that first frag honor, and will now split the board again for TSM as the drone does the same on site. Alvin and 7 are packed, watched, littered, not killed yet. Envy reset, and that's allowed time for Vora to get back to the market. Kane on the mid pick. A big fight here that Vora wins. And now they can reallocate to the front lines. But Exter still made his way around the site, and Ion still good on this front line. He can distract, he can smoke, he can let this second stepper come forward from Exter and go for the full-blown crunch in the 3v2. Are you feeling inspired? Alvin's watching, Alvin's not waiting. A 3v1, Vora against the world, the first of what would be many times, and he can't even hold a candle. It's done. Retire. Enter the game for the very first time. It doesn't matter where they go. It doesn't matter how they do it. Envy do it because they can. They're your Ascension Americas champions.
A great series being fought by Envy. You can see how much it means it for somebody like Inspire, who's been grinding this game since its entry, who felt like he was shafted when he joined into 100 Thieves for maybe like, what, 2 games, and then had to potentially just play stream, and realizes now through his ranked games, the potential of so many of these youngsters that he played with in the ranked teams, decided to make a team with so many of them, and now rises to the occasion right here. Signed by Envy as the rankers, coming in through the open qualifiers of Stage 3 split of 2024. And now they ascend to partnership. Tenrake, you can see how much this means as well for GMD. The friendship between Inspire and him. And GMD also is another one of those players that has
We've seen it before at Champions in Paris and here in Sao Paulo. North American confidence breeds champions, and another one stands atop the world today. Envy are your newest and final VCT 2026 team.